Hello Blood Bowl fans and welcome to the first game of the CoBBL Sevens Championship. Today we've got a game for you between the Chosen of Sigmar and L'Petite Baguettes of the Halfling team. So let's go over the rosters real quick and jump into the game. The first team for this game is the Chosen of Sigmar, a chaos-ish chosen team with 4 blockers and 3 beastmen Griffhounds. With 1 coach as well for that brilliant coaching kickoff result, and 1 beastman, number 10 Sleek, has been given the foul appearance trait. Now, if you weren't with us for the first video of this series, every team is starting with 1 random primary skill, and winning teams will be able to choose primary skills as they advance. Foul appearance is perhaps not the strongest mutation available, however, it will be somewhat useful for a ball carrier, occasionally protecting them from blitzes. And on the other half of the field, we have L'Petite Baguettes. This is a halfling team with 2 treemen, a catcher, a hefty, 4 hopefuls, a coach to help balance out that brilliant coaching kickoff event, and a halfling chef, which can be very important. The random skill for this team will be diving catch on number 6. Now, halflings aren't exactly known as a throwing team, so diving catch is not the best in the world, but it will occasionally help with kickoff events, and sometimes that hefty can throw a ball on a 3+, though that does preclude them from using throw teammate in the same turn. And now that we've met the teams, let's start the game. And first we have fans. Neither team has any dedicated fans, so this will be a straight roll-off. The Chosen of Sigmar get a 3. It's a symbol on the 6. And L'Petite Baguettes get a 1. Now for whether both teams will roll a dice. 7 is perfectly normal Blood Bowl weather. And finally, it's a kickoff. That is a 5 for the Chosen. And a 1 for the Baguettes. And here we are after setup. The Chosen have opted to kick away for the first half. Chosen will opt to drop it directly on the head of the hefty in the middle of the board. It's looking to go 4 to the 2. Landing right there. And now for a very important kickoff event. It's a 10. That is a blitz. However, there are no terribly good blitz targets, but maybe it could let the Chosen get a little bit closer to the ball. And so this many players will get to move and or blitz. That is 2 + 1, so 3 Chosen players will get to move around the board. But before that, we have one very important thing, which is the Master Chef. And the Baguettes will end up with 2 rerolls for the half. Now the ball is relatively well guarded by the tree man, however, getting a body on the ball could be very, very important, as long as it doesn't lead to a surf. Foul appearance number 10 is going to move directly touching the ball, with number 12 right behind him. And number 3 will move up to support them. The blitz action isn't used, but now with 2 bodies on the ball, hopefully protected as much as possible from a surf, it's going to be very difficult for those halflings to be able to pick it up and run with it. But we could see all that change in just a second as the ball bounces to the 4, which is into the middle area and directly into the hands of number 10. Now, Sleek will catch this on a 4+, as it is a bouncing ball. It is a 3, which is a drop, and a once again bounce. Bounces off Sleek to the 6, which is right here next to both the blocker and the Griffhound, which is going to make it very difficult to pick up. After that intense kickoff, the Baguette turn 1 begins improper, with number 20, Barky Mark, going for a walk and trying to get next to the ball. The take root roll is passed on a 2+. And he will attempt to rush to stand kitty corner to the ball. A 2 again is a little concerning, but that is a success. The hefty is also going to take a walk onto the ball. as will diving catch in case a bounce happens and goes a little funny. Now the other halflings are not quite safe from a blitz around the side here yet, but the blitz is now going to happen for the Baguettes as Duke Arbor attempts to blitz Sleek the Beastman Griffhound. The Duke will take root and passes the roll. 1, 2, and will require a rush for the hit. The rush is successful, and this will be a 2 dice. No dodge on that Griffhound. And he will go down in the only place he really can. With a tree man tucking in and touching 3 players, that's about as perfect as you would want it to be for the halflings. Armor 9+, but with Mighty Blow from the tree. An 8 breaks with Mighty Blow. And a 6 will just be a stun. Eagle-eyed viewers will realize that we actually forgot to roll Foul Appearance, which is the whole point of taking that random. Let's roll it now. And it would have passed. With 4 bodies on the ball, the halflings are going to risk a 4+ pickup. Picking up the ball on a 4. That is a fail. They will opt to not use one of their rerolls this early in the game. And the ball will scatter out to the 2, which is right onto the chosen blocker that's standing here. Stormsire, number 3, will attempt to catch it on a 6+. It is a bouncing ball and in 2 tackle zones. A 5 is pretty close, but unfortunately does not get it. Baguettes will bounce the ball again. To the 2 again, which is onto the downed Griffhound. And a 6 will bring it to rest right here, next to both the halfling and the blocker. With that, we move it over to the Chosen of Sigmar, turn number 1. Turn 1 for the Chosen, and it's already a bit of a grinder here. A little hard to see. We're going to move the Duke out of the way very quickly. But we have a stunned Griffhound over here, and a Griffhound against the sidelines. With the ball free, they will move the other Beastman over to tag it. With a rush to get into position. And a 5 will pass. Bright Shield will simply take this chance to move up the board a bit. And number 5 will move in here and potentially riskily touch the tree. But with armor 10, hopefully he can stick around a little bit better. Now an important hit. Stormsire the blocker is going to hit this halfling hopeful here, hoping to get it out of the way and potentially get an easy pickup on the ball. This will be a 2-die block as the tree's tackle zone is taken up. A push and a both down will not get the halfling on the ground, however it will get it out of the way. This will end up being a chain push, so the diving catch piece will be pushed right next to the chosen block. And Stormsire will decide not to follow up. Finally, here comes a pickup attempt from Sanson, number 4. Five will get directly on the ball, and these chosen blockers do have agility 3+. And that is another 5 for a pickup. Now the ball's not entirely safe there, but the trees are currently tagged and is not against the sideline for a surf. So we're going to leave the ball where it is, and Ringo number 12 is going to take a jump out. It's a 4-up dodge through the tackle zone or a 4-up leap out. Chosen opting for the leap. And it's a 4. Gotten away with it as well. 1-2. Leaving him a little bit in the back as a bit of a safety. As Sleek unstuns, we move into Baguettes, turn number 2. Now, a defensive pickup of the ball from the Chosen does mean this is a bit of a dicey situation, but the trees are exactly in a position where they want to be in. That is the position where they're touching things that they're going to block. So first, Duke Arbor is going to take a hit here on this blocker. 2 dice. A push and a skull. Opting for the push and going to push right in here next to the other tree. Now it's a bit hard to tell here what's going on, but Barky Mark does have a block from this blocker that will chain push towards the ball carrier. So depending on how this goes, this could be pretty interesting. Before we go any further, we forgot to make the take root roll for the Duke. And a 5 is successful. A take root roll for Barky Mark is successful. And this will be yet another 2 die on a chosen blocker. A bolt down and a push means that this will just be a chain push situation. The Halflings will opt to push the ball carrier directly towards the sideline. Not touching the ball carrier just yet, but putting it in a very precarious situation. While the trees are making an absolute mess of things over on this side of the board, the other Halflings will attempt to clean up and do some combat on their own side. With 3 supporting helpers, that gives number 6 a 2 die block on a chosen blocker. And a stumbles will absolutely get her on the ground. Can we see a Halfling break armor 10? Not quite. While the blitz has not been yet, the Hefty is just going to opt to make a foul action. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a much better time than having a +4 on the foul. A 9 will absolutely break it with the support. And that is a dead chosen blocker on turn 2. And while that was a massive kill, that was a double, so let's see if the Hefty stays in. Argue the call is not successful, and the Hefty is also ejected. That trade was likely not what the Chosen were hoping for, but they do have the ball still on their defensive drive. It's a little bit messy here with the trees, but we have the ball carrier on a blocker here, we have another blocker here, and we have another one behind this tree. Will this be the turn that they get out of this situation? The turn is actually going to start with a blitz from this Beastman onto this Halfling Hopeful. Just hoping to create a little bit of space and set up for the next couple of blocks. A stumble will not put it on the ground, but it will get it out of the way. Which is potentially all that the Chosen of Sigmar need. Now, this blocker here in the middle will block Barky Mark. With this tackle zone taken up, this will be strength 4, 5, 6, 7, and actually a 2 die block on a tree, which is huge. A skull and push will not be enough, as the tree does have stand firm. Now the Chosen only have a few bad decisions here. A 1 die block with no skill from this Chosen onto this tree. A 2 die uphill from this blocker onto this tree, that's the ball carrier in fact, or a 2 die uphill from this Gryph-hound onto this tree. So they will take the perhaps slightly riskier play and go for some dodges. Now everyone on this team does have agility 3, and there is no prehensile tail or diving tackle here, so to get out of the way, the ball carrier is going to dodge backwards away from the tree. A 6 will make it out. The Gryph-hound will come around as well, trying to dodge out also on 3. And gets it as well. Finally, the last blocker will try to come out on a 3 as well. And that one does go down. Perhaps pushing their luck a little bit. Armor is once again broken. These baguettes are looking to see if they can remove another blocker from the field. And this time, just a stun. The Halflings do now have the numerical advantage, but let's see if they can push that advantage to recover the ball back and score on their drive. Starting by tagging up the Gryph-hound. The team will start with some tree blocks. So first, Duke Arbor is going to block the blocker in front of him. Take root. He is passed. And a 2-dice block. Gives a push and a both down. Blocks this game have been pretty pillow-fisted. Next, Barky Mark will take a block on the Gryph-hound. A skull and a both down. Now Sevens goes fast, and having a tree on the ground would be pretty terrible at this point, so they're going to use one of their rerolls. Trying again. A push and a pow is much better. And once again, we forgot the Barky Mark's take root roll, so let's roll it real quick. And it's a success. Looking to break Armor 9 with Mighty Blow. A 7 will not quite do it. And now a lineman will go for a blitz on a Gryph-hound. 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the hit. Soda is hoping to push Blur next to the tree and maybe get another block next turn. So here is the 2-die with the power of 2 friends. And that's a pow. Armor 9 is broken. Halfling's hoping to get a little bit more removal. And an 8 will be a KO. And finally, the catcher looks to move around and put a little bit more pressure on the ball carrier. After a pretty devastating series of turns, the Chosen are going to have to figure out how to get their way out of this. But as they will be receiving next half, they don't necessarily need to score on this drive. Stormsire number 4, the ball carrier, is going to just start with a block on number 6. A POW will finally put one of the Halflings on the ground, and he will opt not to follow up. A 5 doesn't even break a Halfling armor. And number 12 Ringo will opt for the stand-up blitz on this Halfling as well. 3 to stand and 4 for the hit. Getting another POW. This time opting to follow up and see if they can break armor. A 5 again will not break it. And then just continuing the blitz to tag the tree from this side, keeping it a little bit away from the ball carrier. And now for another dodge. Hoping to utilize that agility 3+ that Chosen blockers get. Number 3 passes on a 4+. And last but not least, Sleek will finally stand up after taking that stun in the first turn and dodge on out. A 5 will be successful. 4 for the dodge, 5, 6 for the rest of movement. And Sanson unstuns, bringing us to turn 4 for the Baguettes. This might be a slightly less advantageous position than they had before, but with one blocker still on the ground and a tree still touching a Gryph-hound, it's not terrible. There's also potentially a blitz on the ball carrier, so let's see if we can get there. Barky Mark will take the first block against the Gryph-hound Beastman lineman, taking root and succeeding with 2 dice, getting a push and a both down. It'll require 2 rushes to get on the ball carrier, but Duke Arbor is going to go for it since they do have that reroll. So first, this will be declaring the blitz and making a take root roll. A 6 off the bat is a good sign. First rush to make it into contact is successful, and the second rush to hit is where we get our failure, but luckily they have a second reroll. Rerolling the rush into a 4 is successful, and a 2-die block on the ball carrier gets a push and a pow, exactly what they were looking for. Armor 10, but with Mighty Blow, he'll break again. Blocker's Armor 10, not really doing what it needs to. And that's another casualty. Chaos Chosen somehow being outbashed by the Halflings. Let's see where that ball scatters. It goes to the 6, which is right into the hands of the Halfling catcher. Now the catcher is in a tackle zone. This is a bouncing ball, so it'll be a 5+, but with a reroll from the catch skill. A 3 will fail the first one. And a 5 will succeed for the second. The diving catch lineman will stand up and tuck in, giving Pitta, number 9, a 2-die block on this Stormcast blocker. And a push is plenty. And Croissant, the catcher, will try to bring it in for a touchdown. Needing a rush, but having sure feet. Doesn't need it. A touchdown for the Halflings. An absolutely devastating first drive for the Chosen, but they do get a chance to recover one of their KOs. And it fails, unfortunately. And here's our setup for the second drive of the first half. The Chosen aren't completely out of this. They definitely can score in 3 turns, but down 3 players will be a little bit difficult. The Halflings opting for a little bit of an onside kick, maybe hoping for a defensive grab of their own. 1 to the 6. Puts it right in front of number 3. And the kickoff event, a 3 is a timeout, even in 7s, meaning this will run back to turn 3 for the Chosen. That gives them a little bit of extra time to try to score something, but let's see what happens on the bounce. 3 puts it right back where it came from, in the middle of the no man's land. Blitzing at this point might be a little bit risky, so instead they're just going to try to tag the ball and pick it up. And sleek number 10 is going to try to grab it, hoping that foul appearance will keep them a little bit safer. That will successfully pick up the ball. It's the Baguettes' turn 4, and while the Chosen have been able to build up a bit of an actual cage here, we'll see if the numbers still help the Halflings succeed. The team is currently out of rerolls, so let's see what happens with the trees first. Barky Mark is looking to go for a walk. Does not take root. At this point, risking the rushes to see if they can tag the blockers. First rush is successful. The second rush is also successful. And Duke Arbor is going to try to throw this Halfling, taking root first. A 4 will succeed. Taking 1 step forward and trying to put the Halfling right on top of the ball carrier. Now this will be a short pass, but it is with strong arm, so still looking for really anything but a 1. It's a 2, which will be inaccurate. And let's see that Halfling scatter. First to the 3 will be over this Chosen blocker. Then to the 3 again will be into this empty square. Then to the 4 will be right next to this blocker. Perhaps not what the Duke was going for, but let's see if this Halfling lands. Now it's inaccurate and in its tackle zone, so looking for a 5 to not fall on its face. And that's definitely not a 5. And here's the armor. A 4 will still not break. The Chosen have been struggling tremendously to break any of these halflings' armor. And now this guy will be able to just stand up and walk over. Start by moving up some of these halflings. And now the halflings will try for a 1-die blitz on the ball carrier, but first they need to get this hopeful in place. First, a rush to here is successful. And then a rush and a dodge. Rolling the rush first is successful, and the dodge succeeds on a 6. And the blitz will come from number 12. Stands up, will have to dodge into place successfully on a 5. And now the blitz is a 1-die block on the ball carrier. And both down is actually good for them. But before we resolve the both down, we should roll foul appearance, as I have forgotten it yet again. Here's foul appearance roll. Would have been successful. Both players do go down. Number 12, Crouton, takes down the ball carrier and attempts to roll armor 9. Successfully again. Seeing a lot of boxcars for this team so far. Let's see if they can keep it up. An 8 will be another KO. Hoping to equalize it, here is the roll against Crouton's armor. That will break. And a 9 is a stunty casualty. Surprisingly, the both down result removes both players, and let's see where the ball goes to. A 1 will bring it onto this halfling hopeful who moved in to help earlier. Now this is a bouncing ball, so it's a 4, which he catches without a problem. That unfortunately is the end of their turn, so this ball carrier cannot get anywhere safe, but I would not call that a bad turn by any stretch of the imagination. Things have really gone from bad to worse, so Gryphon Ringo is now going to attempt to blitz the ball carrier and see if we can make something happen. Hitting on the second square of movement. A stumble and a both down will not get that ball free, but does get it next to the blocker for a second hit. Three, 4, 5, 6. Number 5 will hit the ball carrier as well. A natural POW will put the ball carrier on the ground. And he will follow up out of the tree's tackle zone. Armor first. An 8 will break the armor. And a 6 will simply stun the hopeful. Now the ball comes out again to the 8, which is right next to this hopeful and this blocker. Finally, Stormsire will try to dodge out and get another tackle zone on the ball. Successfully coming out on a 5, and opting to go a little bit riskier to get to a better position. 2, 3, 4, 5, rushing. And rushing again into this square. Successfully. With only 3 players left, these chosen turns are getting shorter and shorter. Let's see what the halflings can do to finish it out. Now Barkymark could go for a blitz that does not require a rush, but a better position could be had with a little bit of extra legwork. So first, he will take root and declare the blitz. Successfully passes the root. 1, 2, rushing for the hit. That will be a successful rush. And a 2-die block, hoping to push both these blockers off the ball. A push and a both down won't quite get there. We'll push number 3 off the ball. And number 5 to there. Halfling swarming the ball, hoping to just prevent the Chosen from touching it. The Duke will attempt to go for a walk as well. Here's the take root roll. Is successful. These trees being very mobile this game. Finally, Soda number 6 is going to attempt to pick up the ball in a tackle zone after a dodge. So first the dodge roll is successful. And then picking up on a 4, which does fail. No rerolls on the team right now, so the ball will scatter to the 8. The ball scatters right here between the tree man and 2 hopefuls, making it really hard to pick up going forward. If the Chosen have any chance of getting a score in this drive, they'll require a little bit of luck, starting with a block onto this diving catch hopeful. POW is a good start. We'll opt to follow up. Hoping to break armor. A 7 will do it. And a 10 is a casualty. It says evening up the numbers a little bit, but importantly, let's see where the ball bounces to. It bounces to the 5, which is onto a tree. Now, tree's not known for their great ability to catch the ball, so let's see what the result is. A 1 will definitely not do it. Then it'll bounce one more time to the 8. Be this square behind the tree. Well, it's definitely not over yet, and that was about as good of a bounce as you could have asked for. However, it's still going to require some blessed dice to make it through. So, Stormsire's just going to go for it. Hoping to pick it up and get out of dodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Picking it up on a 4+. And a 5 does do it. Now to see if he can get away from the tree, he's going to try to rush dodge directly away. First, the rush is successful on a 2. And the dodge needs to be a little bit better than that on a 3+. It's also a 2. Unfortunate. He goes down right there. Can they break armor 10 once again? The Halfling's rolling. Oh my goodness. The boxcars, can they remove the 3rd Chosen blocker? 7 is just a stun. Now where's the ball? To the 6, which is right next to the tree again. Oh no. Now it really is starting to feel like the Baguettes' game to lose, but dice can always be dice. Still, it is the final turn, and they might as well go for a touchdown. So, trying to go for a pickup and handoff first. Picking up on a 3+, which they succeed. Rushing to get in position to hand off. Once again, not needing those sure feet, and handing off on a 3+. Oh, which fails. The ball will bobble away from this Halfling to the 3, which is into the hands of this Chosen blocker. In 2 tackle zones and a bouncing ball. Is a 5 just still is not quite enough. It comes out to the 1. Onto a downed hopeful. And a 4 is onto the Gryph-hound. Now the Gryph-hound's only in 1 tackle zone, so this will be easier on a 5+, which fails again. and goes to the 3. Just right there. Sigmar's Chosen find themselves in a terribly bad spot. So without a chance to score, I'm just going to try to get some more removal, taking a block on this Halfling Hopeful. A double push does not quite do it. Ringo could 2-die uphill the tree, but is opting to do a dodge out and blitz on the Halfling Hopeful instead. So first, a 3-up dodge to get out. Is successful. And a 2-up blitz on the Halfling. Just a stumble will not put it on the ground. And that brings us to the half. Going into the half, the Baguettes are up 1 point and a significant numerical advantage. However, it's possible for the Chosen to make that up. I have 2 Gryph-hounds in the KO box. So first, the Gryph-hound with foul appearance does come back, and the other Gryph-hound also comes back. And just like that, going into the second half, while the Baguettes do still have the point advantage, it is now an even 5-5 in terms of players. And here we are after setup. The Halfling's hiding 2 hopefuls behind the trees back here. And they will go a little bit onside once again. Maybe hoping to get a defensive setup in the middle. A 4 to the 4. Oh my goodness, that is about as good as you can get. Now, 1-4-6 will be a touchback, but 2 things. First, we have the Halfling Master Chef. It's only 1 reroll for this half. And very importantly, the kickoff event. The 6 is still cheering fans, and now neither of these teams have cheerleaders, so we will simply get a roll off and see who gets a prayer to Nuffle. Chosen get it on a 4 against the 3, and they will get 3 is a stiletto. 1 player is randomly going to get stab, starting from 1 over here. 2, 3, 4, 5, re-rolling 6s. And with that rubber band, Sleek now has both foul appearance and, for this drive, stab. Now the ball will bounce one more time. Again, a 1-4-6 will be a touchback. And a 3, 5, and 8 will put the ball in the middle of the field. A 2 or 7 is what the Baguettes are looking for. And it's an 8, which is still pretty good when you have 2 trees right there. It's not looking like the blitz will be used this turn, so the blockers will just move on up. Setting up in a bit of a looser formation so as to not get your whole team tagged up by trees immediately. Now, Sleek, with all the skills, will try to pick up the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attempting to pick up the ball on a 3+. And a 3 will get it. And stepping back on 6 to just be out of blitz targeting. You can see me a little bit there, that's fine. Baguettes just need to stop the... Oh, it's good. Never mind. Baguettes just need to stop the score this turn to pick up the game. Baguettes just need to stop the score this drive to pick the game up. So, without further ado, the trees will try to do just as well as they did last half. So first, Barky Mark's going to go for a walk. Succeeds on the take route and simply steps forward to tag both the blockers. Then Duke Arbor is going to go for a blitz on number 3, Stormsire. No take route here either. Stepping forward and blocking on 2 dice. A push and a stumbles is fantastic. Now this team did a great job breaking armor 10 in the first half. Let's see if it continues in half 2. Not quite. Halfling's coming in to tag the ball carrier and hoping to get a pretty good position out of it as well. This Halfling going to go through some tackle zones. 1, 2, 3 for a dodge. With a dodge reroll. Succeeds. 4 to there. Succeeds again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rush and dodge. So first the rush with sure feet, as this is the catcher. Succeeds. Then the dodge. Succeeds. Let's see what happens in Chosen of Sigmar turn 2. Well, Stormsire is just going to stand up and try to take up some tackle zones. It's going to be a bit of an interesting turn here. Moving Ringo here is going to give Sleek a 3-die blitz on this Halfling Hopeful, which hopefully should get him out of dodge without having to actually dodge. So here's the blitz. Horns makes it strength 4-5 with the support, and these are all taken up by other players. 3 dice. And the POW is there. Exactly what the Chosen were looking for in that moment. See if they can break the armor on the go. An 8 will definitely do it. And a 6 is just a stun. That was 1 for the hit, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to move down the field. Now number 5, Sanson Farstrider, is in a bit of an interesting position. He is currently tagging a tree, which is very important. However, it might be more important to dodge away and get into a better spot with which to tag that tree. So, without further ado, let's see if he can make the movement. First, a dodge into the open. And succeeds on a 3. Five is to there. Going to rush to here to see if he can block off a little more movement. A 6 succeeds. And another rush to there. If this rush is successful, it all but prevents the blitz from the tree man. Oh no, it's a 1. A very unfortunate stumbling. Let's see if he pays for it with his armor. A 7 will thankfully not break the armor. A pretty solid turn for the Chosen, but the Baguettes are not entirely out of this. Let's see what they can get done. First, number 9 Pitta is actually in the way, so he's going to dodge to here. Bit risky for the first action. Oh no. But this is a much better position if he can pull it off. Dodge reroll. A 3 is successful. Hidda will not push his luck any further than that. Now, Barky Mark will attempt to block number 3. First, take root. Succeeds. And then a 2-die. That is a POW and a both down. The POW is plenty. Putting Stormsire right where number 9 used to be. After the follow-up, trying to break armor 10 again. Not doing it on a 6. Even with Mighty Blow, not doing it. Now, for a series of dice, the Duke is going to attempt to blitz the ball carrier. Now, first, there's a take root, of course, which succeeds. Then, there's a foul appearance, which also succeeds. First rush to get to this square is a fail. Now they do have one reroll from their chef, and it'll be used right now. This is a rush to get into the square again from the reroll. Succeeds just on a 2. And then a rush to actually make the hit. Succeeds on a 6. Burned the reroll to get here, but here's a 2-die block on the ball carrier. A both down and a push. While both down does technically favor the tree, pinning against the sideline is really, really good at this point. And finally, the catcher will go for a walk. Succeeding on the dodge. And just blocking up some movement there. Now for the Chosen of Sigmar, turn 3. It's not impossible to get out of here, but it will be interesting. First, Stormsire is just going to stand up. Sanson is going to stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step into here. Ringo is going to take a block on the catcher. This will be a 2-die. Push. It's a little further up the field. And then Blur takes a block on this halfling. Getting a POW. Trying to break armor 7. A 9 successfully breaks armor 7. Trying to get a halfling off the field. A 5 will simply be a stun. And now for the most important play, we have Sleek over here. A 2-die uphill blitz is an option. However, this is going to be a dodge and attempt to run it in. Too many bad results on the 2-die uphill with no skills. So first, dodge here to the trap door. Looking for a 4+. And a 5 will do it. Let's see if he can make the second one on a 3+. Oh no. And the 1 will put him on the ground. And let's see if he pays for it with his armor. Fortunately, he does not. And the ball goes forwards, which is forwards. The ball is free, but it is a bit far away. Let's see what the halflings can do to try to recover it, or at least protect it. We're going to start with a block from Duke Arbor onto this blocker. So first we'll get the take root, which will succeed. 2-die block, getting a POW. Trying to break that armor 10. Not with a pair of 3s. The catcher will be going to try to get the ball. So, first dodging out on a 3+, which fails with a dodge reroll. Succeeds on a 6. 3, 4, 5, and rushing onto the ball. Rushing onto the ball, looking for a 2+. A 2 gets it, and a 3+ to pick it up. Gets it. Now this isn't terribly safe, so he's going to take another rush away from the Gryph-hound. That is a 1 where he will just go straight down. Armor 7 will absolutely break on an 11. And injury is just a 3, another stun. And the ball bobbles to the 6, leaving it dangerously close to the end zone. It is turn 4 for the Chosen of Sigmar. And, well, the ball is free. Every halfling is on the ground, so it's just time to get some better positioning before trying to go for the score. Standing up, number 5, and moving up, number 12. Number 17 will also move up. And then number 10 is just going to go and try to tie the game up. Standing up for 3, dodging out on 4. Dodge succeeds on a 6. 5, 6 to stand on the ball, picking it up on a 3+. Once again, succeeding on a 6. And finally, a rush into the end zone to try to score and even the game up. A 2 does it, bringing the score 1-1 tie in turn 4. And here we are set up for Baguette's turn number 4. This is a precarious position for both teams. We will have overtime going forwards, an extra 6 turns per team, so an extra half with golden goal. First to score wins. We will just continue playing on after the end of turn 6 here if it gets to that point. So without further ado, the Chosen will do a bit of a close-up kickoff. It has been working out really well for both teams. Here's the kickoff. 2 to direction 6. Puts it very close to a tree. And the kickoff is a 9. A 9 is a quick snap, so D3+1 players on the receiving team. It is 3 players who may immediately move 1 square. The tree will not move onto the ball, but this halfling will move very close to it. And this tree will move a little bit forward. Any movement you can get on a tree is good movement. The ball comes down and bounces to the 5, which is a little bit further forward. There are not many players left, and this ball does need to get downfield. Now, turn 4 is a bit early to go for a throw teammate, so instead, the hopeful is just going to walk forward and try to pick up the ball. Picking it up on a 5. And stepping back into the safe space of the trees. Let's see if it stays that way. So Barky Mark is going to attempt to go for a walk. Does not fail his take root, so he'll simply step forward. Next, Duke Harper will try to do the same. And rolls the same. Putting a lot of protection around this ball carrier. And finally, the catcher and the other hopeful will move up and just make this cage a little bit more of a cage. Turn 5 for the Chosen. This team either really needs to stop the throw teammate action or hopefully find an angle to get onto the actual ball carrier. It's a bit risky touching trees at any point, but at this point in time, you really just gotta make their throw teammate a little bit worse in any way you can. Sleek is going to go for a blitz on the catcher, who is behind Duke Arbor here. So there will be a rush involved in this. 2 rushes, in fact. First one to get into this position. Successful on a 3. And the second one to make the hit is a failure, and he goes down. This is where the lack of rerolls in 7 starts to show up. At least his armor does not break. On to the Baguettes, turn 5. Now, a throw teammate here could get a score. However, the Chosen blockers being there are going to make it a little bit harder with a chance for wildly inaccurate, which is exactly what they were trying to do. At this point, it's pretty unlikely for Sigmar's Chosen to one-turn touchdown, so the Halflings are going to go for the throw teammate play. First, Barky Mark is going to take a block on the blocker in front of him, first taking root. And we'll take root. And then blocking with 2 dice. A stumble will put them on the ground. Now, trying to break that armor 10 with Mighty Blow will not. And Duke Arbor will go for the throw teammate. Duke Arbor will be going for the throw teammate here, throwing the ball carrier. Now, there is a Stormcast here, so between the short pass and an opposing tackle zone, even with strong arm, this will be a -1 to throw. So, hoping not to see a 1 or a 2. And it's a 3, which is inaccurate, but still has a chance to land. First, scattering to the 1, which is in a bit of the wrong direction. Then scattering to the 7, which is straight this way. And then scattering to the 5, which is back the way it needs to go, which is great. And then the big roll. Now, this was not a perfectly accurate pass, so it does need a 4+ to land. And a 1 will not do it. The ball carrier goes down, which will be a turnover, but first, see if they can break armor 7. And on a 10 will do it. And that hopeful is out of there on an 11. And then from there, the ball will bounce to the 4. A little back towards the middle of the field. Final standard time turn for the Chosen of Sigmar. Now the ball is loose and open and 1 tree is rooted, which is about as good as you can get, but the clock is ticking and it is still anybody's game at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get a blocker on the ball. Sleek is simply going to stand up and blitz the Halfling Hopeful next to him. 1, 2, 3 to stand, 4 for the hit. Getting the POW. Putting the catcher on the ground and following up. Now trying to break the armor 7 and failing to do so on a 5. Sleek then continues the blitz to step here, stepping in between both those halflings, hoping to just make them make some dodge rolls. Now back to the ball itself. Blur is going to try to pick it up and get away with it. So 1, 2, 3 to pick it up. And that is a 1. It will bobble out. 5 is straight back. So while the Chosen would rather have the ball, this is a pretty safe spot for it to be in this situation. Baguette's final regular time turn. We'll see the catcher stand up. Now 1 tree is taken root and the other tree is tagged. So Duke Arbor will go for a block on this Chosen blocker. First the take root roll. Succeeding on a 3. Then 2 dice to try to take it down. Oh no, that's a double both down with no team rerolls. Very quick turn 6. First trying to break the Stormcast armor. Not even with any help. And then trying to break armor 11. And it actually happened. Now we'll see what happens to the tree. And a pair of 1s. It is simply stunned. That block, perhaps ill-advised, may have cost the halflings a lot of momentum. We are now into overtime, and with 1 tree stunned and 1 tree rooted, things could not look better for the Chosen of Sigmar. Blur is going to get a chance to redeem themselves and try to pick the ball up 1 more time. And immediately failing on a 1. Bobbling it to the 2. It may be a very quick overtime if neither team can pick up the ball. Now, it's not impossible to win, but it will be a little bit, I suppose we can say, hopeful for the halflings. So first, the catcher is going to attempt to move 1 with a dodge. Succeeds. 2 with a dodge, which succeeds. and 3 with a dodge, which succeeds. Now Barky Mark is going to attempt to throw the catcher. Already has taken root. Going to attempt to drop it right on the head of this Gryph-hound. Here's accuracy. It's a 6, which is perfectly accurate. However, still scattering 3 times. A 2 is onto the ball. A 3 is next to the other Beastman lineman. And a 4 is right here, next to the ball. Now this is a perfectly accurate pass, however, it is in the tackle zone, so this will be a 4+ to land. Which does fail. This will not cause a turnover, but the catcher's armor will be rolled against and be broken on a 9. And an 8 will be a stunty KO. We have one hopeful left, and he is just going to go stand by a tree and hope to do something next turn. So first, the dodge with the dodge reroll. Followed by another dodge in between the trees, which succeeds. Into turn 2 of overtime. And this time Ringo is going to try to pick it up because Blur has failed a few times, so let's see if the other Gryph-hound lineman can do better. No. The ball pops out to the 6, and it's about as safe as can be. It is another overtime turn for the Halflings. First, this tree is going to try to stand up with some help from the Halfling. And will fail to do so, so Duke Arbor stays on the ground. And Barky Mark is going to attempt to throw the final Halfling, and is going to try to throw them directly onto the ball. So let's see how that goes. Here's the accuracy. With strong arm and no tackle zones, anything but a 1 will simply be inaccurate. Now the Halflings are playing for a little bit of luck here. Let's see how it goes for them. First scatter goes to the 7. Second scatter goes to the 5. Third and final scatter goes to the 1, which is right back onto the ball. That's pretty good luck in a certain capacity. Now this is inaccurate, so it'll already be -1, and with 3 tackle zones, this Halfling will need a 6 to land safely. Which he does not, and he goes down. Now if he can survive his armor being broken here, there's a world where he stands up and grabs the ball and scoots away. Let's see if it happens. Not on a 12, probably. And a 10 is another casualty. And that is all Halflings off the pitch. Going into Sigmar's overtime, turn 3. Now there is still a way for the Halflings to win, and that is if the Chosen fail to pick up the ball multiple times, and it goes into roll-offs after overtime runs out. So let's see if these Gryph-hounds are ever going to be able to pick that ball up off the ground. This time, Ringo's going for it. First step onto the ball. That is a third 1 in a row to pick up the ball in overtime, by the way. The ball bobbles out to the 1, which is at least in the right direction. Duke Arbor is simply going to try to stand up, which he's unable to do. And Barky Mark is unfortunately still rooted and hanging around. Chosen turn 4. Once again, going to attempt to try to pick up the ball. It is yet another one, meaning these dice really don't want anything to happen. The ball comes out to the 6. Duke Arbor will try to stand up again. Successfully doing so. And now has a chance to tag the ball by doing 2 rushes. First rush to here. Succeeds. And second rush touching the ball. Fails and immediately falls down. Truly a comedy of errors. And his armor does break. Amusingly so, he can only break his own armor and simply stunned again. All right, for a little bit of luck on the Chosen of Sigmar turn 5, Stormsire is going to stand up and move forward 2, just in case his services are needed. And once again, we're going to try to pick up this ball with number 12. Picking up on a 3+. Finally grabbing it on a 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sanson is going to walk forward and tag the tree just in case some funny things happen. Realizing now that this is turn 5 and actually nothing funny can happen, but that's okay. The Baguettes have nothing to do but to unstun one of their trees, and the other one is rooted. Bringing it back to the Chosen of Sigmar, turn 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they walk it in for the winning touchdown. So congratulations to the Chosen of Sigmar, our first winner in this bracket. After a staggeringly painful first half where they lost 2 blockers and received a lot of KOs, and a comedy of errors in the second half with a lot of dropping of the ball and tripping over their own feet, they managed to pull it out in the very last turn of overtime after finally getting some good luck to go on their way and some halfling mischief backfiring on itself. Let's take a look at the bracket now. With the first game done, the next game will be between Zincha Zoomers and the Bananaberg Champions, the Renegades team and the Wood Elf team. And the winner of that will go up against this Chaos Chosen team. After that, we'll have Orcs versus Slan with the Chicago Orc Dire Bears versus the Frogzilia Darters. And then the final game of round of 8 will be the Suncoast Translators, the OWA team, versus Warp Corp Amalgamated, the Underworld Denizens team. Thank you so much for joining us for this first game of the CoBBL 7's Championship, and we hope to see you in the next one. And we hope all your gaming is cozy.